It's asking questions on what to do or not to do. We are try to surround ourselves with people who are smarter than yourself, who are curious learners, and always want to be better.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. I'm your host today. My name is Brett Gilliland, and my team and I here at Elite Entrepreneurs are privileged to meet with many seven-figure business owners who have figured out how to get that business off the ground, how to match that product or that service with the market need, and start to grow in their ability to get and serve customers or clients. And then they start to hit some new scaling challenges, and we're talking about real lessons learned in real businesses and real challenges. And so I'm excited to have another great guest today. Let me introduce her. Her name is Monique Zinn. She is founder and CEO of Zinn Insurance. And just met Monique as we were getting ready for this show, and I'm excited to spend this time with her. Monique, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Brett. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast today.
Okay, so Monique, tell people a little bit about Zinn Insurance. I know you deal in the health life insurance side of things, not the casualty property kind of things, but give us a better understanding and overview of what you guys are doing and who you're serving.
Sure, not a problem. Well, we are in the business of humanizing benefits. So we help companies create employee benefit packages, as well as help with fractional HR services. And those who do not have our availability to employee benefits, we provide Medicare services. So we help people get enrolled with Medicare and individual policies. So we deal in the areas of health, life, and disability insurance for individuals as well as companies.
All right, very good. And you've been doing this long enough to have a growing team. You're successfully getting and serving clients, which is awesome. And now you're in a place where, for some business owners, you'd be able to share some key lessons learned. It's like I've done this thing of building a business. It's working, and so we'd love to have you share a key insight or two that would be useful if you think back on the earlier version of yourself when it was just you and you're like, oh, I want to get there. Now you're at a different place, a more successful, a larger business kind of place. And what lessons have you learned that might be helpful to somebody else?
Oh gosh, we could be here for a total hour about all the lessons that I've learned. I think you learn more about learn from your failures than your successes. Don't get me wrong, successes are very rewarding and help continue to propel you to the next big thing. But I think you learn more in failures or failures of others because you learn. So I think it's asking questions. It's asking questions on what to do or not to do. If I'm myself along with my team, we are try to surround ourselves with people who are smarter than yourself, who are curious learners and always want to be better, learning personally and professionally, trying to be a better human being, always trying to take yourself to that next step, because life is about learning and always being better. So never being stagnant with growth and knowledge and education that you can learn from others or from other resources.
That sounds like an amazing mindset to have for yourself and for members of your team to have. Can we talk more specifically about, like, how do you develop yourself? What are some ways? Who do you turn to? What are some places that you go to learn and ask questions?
Well, there are a number of places. So one of the major key places for myself, from a spiritual and religious standpoint, so I lean to that area for the first. Second place is I also have a business coach and a coaching team. So I am a member of Vistage. I have been a Vistage member for about 8 years now, and I have a personal coach through my Vistage group. And then I also have basically 18 to 20 CEOs in different areas and different businesses that we are able to meet with monthly. And we work through issues as well as we learn from others in that regard. And then I also have some mentors in my field of insurance that I have also relied on and bounce ideas and questions off of while you can rely on your team, there are certain things from a leadership standpoint that it's important to have from an outside basis and looking an outside looking in viewpoint.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And while we could talk about the virtues of Vistage specifically on this episode because it's something that you're involved with.
Yes.
We can genericize that to some extent and just say, look, there are places that you can go as a business owner to get
Mm,
some, and you mentioned two things specifically, to get some coaching, some sort of
yes.
outside perspective, working with you one on one to help you see the way you're thinking and the way that you're operating. And then the other thing you mentioned was just connecting with peers that might be in other lines of business or other industries, but they're in there doing their thing and they're learning things and they're bouncing ideas off of you. So peer group stuff is amazing. Having a coach is really helpful. And then you also mentioned industry specific mentors, which I think is
Yes.
also a nice addition to that total package of learning and support that you described. Very good. Um, let's drill down on the team that you've surrounded yourself with because you mentioned that as well. Like, let's try to surround ourselves with people who know more than we do, at least in their specialty, and
Right.
and who are curious and still trying to learn themselves. So, how are you hiring people who have those qualities, and then how are you supporting them in
Mhm.
their efforts to continue to learn and grow?
Well, we are looking for people who are always curiously learning, and I have identified for my speaking just for myself areas where we have strengths and weaknesses in, and so there are areas in business where I am not very strong in, and so I look for team members in those areas who have that strength in their personal profile, not just as yes I can perform a duty, but that is one of the core things that they are as a human. I have people that are excellent at systems and processes. I've got people that are good with, good people. We have a very hard, we work very hard and work for a very long time being very strategic about finding our team members. That is also a very big culture fit. So with people that you work with, you working with these people 8, 10 hours a day, sometimes certain the busy season you're working with them 12 hours a day, and it's very important to have a culture where we work hard, we play hard, we creatively problem solve, but then we're trying to also continually perfect what we have put in place, but also looking at other ideas that may be a little bit more out of the box to help serve our clients, to better provide service to our clients, education and understanding, and just being able to really find those ideal clients that would, we're in the relationship business. We're not here just to go sell a widget and be on our way. We're looking to have long-term relationships with our clients and help them to solve problems, and even potentially looking at problems that may they have not seen that we can help them with so that they can grow their business just like we are.
So if you have people who are curious
Mhm.
learners, right, they're always looking to develop themselves, get better as people. Um, if you find the right people, is there anything else that you have to do to support them in that, or they're like, nope, they're the right
Absolutely.
people, they just do it?
Oh no, there. Everybody needs support and assistance. So we have leadership programs. So I have several of my leaders in outside leadership programs. Advancing leaders. We look at reading books, or we kind of have like a book club where we, are looking at additional things. We talk about podcasts. We listen to. We have with Vistage, we have a lot of speakers. We always come back with information about leveling up our business, or learning about other financials, and learning about profiles and personality types. How can we work better together culturally? How can you identify and how can you communicate with others that are not of the same mindset? So you're always learning to get new information, and things change and evolve. Business has made a huge change even since COVID, where normal business practices that has changed a lot of how we perceive people, how we provide sales and communication. So things are, I would say, is ever changing.
Well, it sounds to me, Monique, like you're pretty intentional when it comes to developing and supporting your team. I'm wondering if you could speak to I'm just going to throw out a wild guess here and say that somebody listening
Okay.
is saying, we don't have time to develop people. Like, we're so busy doing our stuff, or like the fires are raging, the whirlwind is turning. Like, how in the world do you spend time, energy, resources developing people when there's so much chaos happening? So, what would you say to somebody who's thinking, I don't know
I
if
don't
I
have
can
time for
afford
that.
it? Yeah, I don't
I
have
don't
time
have.
for
I
that.
don't have time, and I don't have time, and I can't afford it. Well, it's finding the right programs, finding the right program to put yourself and your people in. If you believe it, you're going to make time. If things are a priority, you're going to build time into that. Doesn't have to be hours upon hours every single month. It can be, you start out with a goal and you dial it down. Each one of my team members, at the end of each year, we do a goals. We have 20, the next year's goals for both personally and professionally. And we also write a reflections document where you write yourself a letter to yourself, and then you're going to reread that from at the beginning of the year. You're going to read it at the end of the year and see if you've got those goals accomplished. But we have one-to-ones. We also have weekly meetings. We have leadership meetings on a monthly basis. We look at goals on a quarterly basis. Is each department, are we on track? Are we off track? How can we get on track? Where are we flying? So it's having those little micro things to help you along the way, so that it's not this huge, what we call the BHAG right at the end of the year. Oh my gosh, what did we do? How did we not do anything? And there aren't any surprises. Team members know where they're at. We know where we're at. We know where we're failing. We know where we're succeeding, because it's minimal progress every single week. Those weeks turn into months. Those months turn into the year, and there you go.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that perspective. I'm still trying to represent an audience of business owners who might think about this differently, or may not think about it much at all. You're clearly very intentional, and you make investments in your team and growing them. Um, what would you say is the relationship between individual growth by yourself, by team members, and the performance of the business? It seems to me like you see there's a relationship there, but how would you describe that relationship?
They work very closely together, because if you have someone who is goal and growth minded, personally and professionally, it kind of trickles down. And so if your culture, if your business is a very education and environment, people wanting to better, to be greater than themselves, that has a trickle down effect. And it's not just from the owner and CEO, but it's also the leadership team. If they believe in it, and that's part of one of their core aspects, then it just is a trickle down effect. And for those, there are some that, I'm not 100% in, but I do like the fact that, hey, I've got a minor goal. Hey, I want to do something a little bit different. Hey, you know what? I'm walking now 10,000 steps a day. That's great. My friend right next to me at my desk right here, they'll take a break and they'll go walk around the building. So it's just those minor little things to make it the greater. It always is difficult when you first think about it and on getting started, but once you kind of just create a plan and you dial it down, it's not as hard as you think.
Yeah, well, eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? One little piece at
That's
a time.
right, exactly.
Get it
We'll
done.
take the rabbits over the elephant.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Monique, that was very helpful. Thank you for sharing some of your experience that would be useful to other people. Let's shift gears to a different type of experience, which might
Okay.
be as you continue to grow this business, as you continue to evolve yourself and your role and how you contribute. What are is there anything that I could help you with today that would be useful in your growth journey? Hopefully, it will be useful to other people listening also.
I think that as a business owner, you start out with a certain set of skills, and it's gotten to you a certain place into your business. And as you scale and you continue to grow your business, there are different requirements in mindsets as a business owner that changes. And so, as we are scaling and growing our company, there's a different mindset. So I'm trying to make sure that I am either learning or surrounding myself with the right people to be a better leader, I don't want to manage, I want to lead people. So, what kind of characteristics, what are things that I need to be a better leader to scale a company from 2 to $20 million? What does that look like? There's different skill sets at different places. So, what would you recommend looking at? Because the skill set from 0 to 1 million is one mindset. 1 to 2 is really hard, but it seems from 2 to 10 million is a different jumping off place. And for those of who've been in business, they said, well, 1 to 2 was terrible. It's 2 to 10 that is a much easier. It's like going from 2 kids to 3 kids. The third kid is much easier once you get there. So, do you have any recommendations on, adding kids to the kid to the game here?
Well, you don't know this. That question fits very nicely with my experience because we have more than two kids at home, so I know what to do now.
There you go.
No, I'm just playing. We do have several kids, and people would always say, "Well, how do you do that?" Like, well, what you have right now is all you can handle until you have the
Right.
next thing, and then it's like, oh, that was not that bad. Two wasn't that hard. Three is actually hard, and then when you have four, it's like, oh, three wasn't so bad. Four is hard. But wherever we're at, it seems like we're sort of maxed out at our capability. But it points to a next level of mindset, skill set, a way you show up as a leader, and so I appreciate the way
Mhm.
that you teed that up. Um, Monique, what do you think? I mean, why does this matter to you? Why do you want to learn how to level up, how to be a leader of a larger business? What's at stake for you?
Well, it's not just me at stake. It's the success of my business, my personal and professional success, but also the people that, my team, where if we're successful, everybody's successful. I'm a small business we have a 10-member team. It's myself, my team members, their families, their livelihoods. So if we're successful, then we're all going to be successful. And as we continue to grow the business, we want to share that success with others, and we want to be a company that's sought after, not only from the service and the programs that we provide, but to be able to be sought after as a company where it's like, oh, I want to go work for that company. They look amazing. They're amazing. Like, I cannot wait to get to work for Zinn Insurance.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said it that way. I want people hearing this to wake up to the fact that I, as the leader, you as the leader, we're the ones that determine what kind of growth opportunity, what kind of fun, excitement, what kind of impact we can have collectively. Not alone, but we have a great deal of influence on how much thought and investment goes into the future of this business. And everybody associated with the business is tied to your belief around that and your capability to actually do it. So it is an important question but only for business owners who see there's something more and see the importance of helping everyone associated with the business benefit from a healthy, thriving business versus one that sort of gets stagnant. So I appreciate that perspective from you, Monique. Um,
Thank
I
you.
also like the way that you teed this up. To go from 0 to 1 million was one thing. You described it as 1 to 2 million and then 2 to 10. We didn't talk about this before, but a reference that we use is we share this with people all the time. We call it the stages of small business, but we use the ones and threes of revenue as the approximate stage change points. So 100,000 to 300,000, that would be a stage. 300,000 to 1 million, a little bit different stage. 1 million to 3 million, 3 million to 10 million. So whether or not it's exactly
Close,
at
real
two, yeah,
close.
whether it's
Yes,
at two or at
pretty close.
three, there's something similar in the idea that the thing that we built to get to where we are is now insufficient to get to where we want to go, and we have to learn how to level up in our people, processes, and systems, in our leadership, in our mindset. There's a new game, and we have to shift to that next stage of business. And so, again, whether it happens at two or three, somewhere in there there's a transition going on. And if I were to put words to it, I would say, around 1 million, 1 to 2 million, the business owner is trying to figure out how not to be involved in delivering the thing, right? Getting and serving
Right.
clients now cannot be not just solely reliant on the business owner, but can't be even significantly reliant on that business owner if the business wants to, like, if this business is going to scale, we have to figure out
Right.
how to extract the business owner out of the value delivery to customers. Again, not that their experience isn't important, not that they don't know anything anymore. Quite the contrary. Often they might be the expert on the team, but the value delivery to clients cannot be heavily weighted on that business owner if the business is going to scale. So around a million or leading up to that million is about the time that we've got to make a separation there, and the business owner, that scrappy gritty founder, now has to become a leader, right? They've got to transition to
Yes.
that leadership role. And what I would say is happening from the 1 to 3 million range is that we're further developing that leadership ability, and we're getting ready to start putting functional leaders in place. I'll call them functional leaders. You call them whatever you'd like. But to go from 3 to 10, you absolutely can't be one leader and a bunch of direct reports. Unless you're in a business model like, I don't know, information, a membership based kind of model where there's a lone genius expert that has all this traffic going through their website, and a staff of people helping them. Most businesses that provide a service where people are part of the delivery, you have to be able to scale the team, and you need to start having leadership in place. So the fact that you've got a team of 10, and you know that if you're going to continue to support more clients, you're going to have to grow the team more, says to me
Right.
you're going to have to start creating some leadership, in team leadership or functional leadership, so that you can go from being the leader to the leader of leaders. And that's an important distinction. um, you talked about, I don't want to just manage, I want to lead. And I think that
Yes.
first move to leadership is kind of a manager. It's like a leader with a bunch of direct reports. But to move to that leadership role that you talked about, I'll call it a leader of leaders. You're going to start creating other leaders who are going to manage, the smaller teams and manage processes. And so any help that you can get around becoming a leader of leaders is going to be essential for you. So I want to be a little, is that helpful, Monique, the
It
framing?
is. It's very helpful. No, absolutely. That I think you're definitely you've painted the picture quite nicely. So yes,
Okay.
I agree
And
with
I
you.
want to get more practical now on things that you can do,
Okay.
because you already know what it looks like to do the learning and doing thing. You did that to get your business going and get it off the ground, and so that's going. Now you're leading people, but to make that next jump to leading leaders, which means creating other leaders, there's some work that you have to do, and that has to do with I call it a leadership model. Just like you know exactly, Monique, what it looks like to be a great team member at Zinn Insurance. Like you know the values that they should have. You've got this well-defined culture. I can tell by the way you talk about it. So you hire to that culture, you lead to that culture. If necessary, you fire to that culture. Right? All of those expectations are
Yes.
clear. But there's a next level of clarity around leadership that would be helpful for you to start to get a picture about. It's like, what does good leadership look like at Zen? Because if now you could be doing it really well for yourself as a leader, but if you're going to hire, develop, groom those next leaders to step up, you have to know what good leadership looks like. And I heard evidence of it when you described some of the things that you do already as a leader. You do weekly one-to-ones. I call them one-on-ones, one-to-ones, weekly
Hmm.
connects, call it whatever you want. But there's an expectation that a leader at Zinn Insurance is not only going to be interested in making sure that the performance is happening, but that the team members are growing and learning, right? So you have a
Yes.
mechanism, you've got a process or a mechanism built in to help you do that as a leader. But any other leaders that you would bring in, you would expect them to care about their team enough that we're going to know what's going on in their lives, what are their professional goals, and that weekly one-on-one will be a key place to have these key leadership moments. But there's going to be something about developing the team in your leadership model. I can tell just by the way you've been talking to me, that would be an important thing to understand when you go to hire or develop leaders. It's like, yeah, what does that look like at Zinn? It looks like that, right? And you get very behavioral with it, but
Right.
that's one simple example. Um, I,
Okay.
I I would imagine there are other leadership things that come quickly to mind, like how we lead at Zinn would look like what? what would be another example or two in your leadership model that we're just kind of creating here real time?
Caring about your other team members, understanding their personalities and how they, what we use culture index as an example. So, what's their
Okay.
culture index? What does that look like? Their personality profile. How do they behave? Outside of work, within inside work. How can you work well with others? What does your skill set look like that we can level that up? And where are areas where there are deficiencies that we can help grow those deficiencies so that they are an asset to yourself personally and professionally. Uh, Also, learning, how else can you be best at your position? How can you help others? How can you scale it down? So you're at the top of the pyramid, but every time there are new business opportunities, then how is that going to be replicated? How are you going to be able to give the Disney experience to the same person or the same client, regardless of their industry? You're giving them the same. It's repeatable. It's a repeatable process every single time.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is you need people who can figure out how to get clear about what success looks like in this role or this function or this team and this client
Yes.
experience, and then organize the work in a way that it's repeatable, and build the team in a way that they can pull that off. So
As
there's
well as execution, so that
that's right.
execution as well too, and using your time wisely throughout the day, because we can be busy. Everyone is busy. People can be busy, but how you tackle things of priority, how you get things over the finish line, because I could be busy and do all these minor things, but then you didn't attack the large goal that actually had movement within the organization or that client. So it's also looking at how do you prioritize your day and make the most efficiency of your time in that at that period of time that you're there doing your work.
That's right. Getting those results, we want to make sure that we get it done in the most efficient way. So when I think about what you just described, Monique, can we go back to your original question? How do
Sure.
you become the leader that you want to become so that your business can
Yes.
keep growing? I'll simplify it in I guess three primary responsibilities that you're going to want to more fully master to take that next level. Every
Perfect.
business owner needs to do these three things: set the vision. It sounds like you have some strength around that already, but you've got to take next level steps around vision setting. So sometimes that's
Yep.
looking further out, sometimes it's just driving more clarity across the team. But what does setting the vision look like for that next stage of growth for your business? The second thing is to build the team that's going to go make that happen. And we spent a fair amount of time talking about that. And then the third thing
Yes.
would be get the resources. So as you grow, the capital requirements for this growing team continue to go up. And
Yes, it does.
yeah, ideally our sales machine is fueling that growth, but occasionally the sales or the collection of those sales lags behind the use of capital needs that we have with our team, or maybe we got to expand into a larger space, or whatever the investments are. Sometimes we
Yes.
need to make sure that we have the resources necessary to go achieve this big, hairy, audacious goal that you talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So pushing your vision up and out and having more clarity with that vision, I would be enrolling the team to co-create that as much as possible, and then build the team both in your development efforts with current team members, as well as learning how to bring in at the right time people who have that next level experience. Because getting from, let's say, 300,000 to a million, let's say you had key team members who helped you get from 300,000 to a million, and then helped you get from 1 million to 3 million. Those two stage changes might be all that that person can do to lead that role or that function. They may not know what it looks like to go from 3 to 10 million, and there are distinctions.
Right.
And so you might have
There
to say,
is.
all right, we need, I don't know, a fractional CFO to come help us level up in our abilities around finance. That's just being random with the example, but sometimes you have to bring some outside perspective into the team beyond the mentoring, beyond the coaching that you personally get. Sometimes you got to bring more experienced talent into the team, and you need to do that in a way that doesn't mess up all the great culture work that you've already done, but still allows you to get the know-how for the next stage of your growth. So I think about building the team in that way, and then getting the resources. Like I said, sometimes it's a line of credit, sometimes it's just increasing the sales machine so that we have the resources. But you're the one that has got to be thinking about that fuel, that financial runway. Do we have enough to go where we say we're going to go? um, and all the other responsibilities you got to be pushing down. You've got to be delegating and developing those next level leaders as quickly as you can. So I hope some of those ideas were a little helpful for you,
That's
Monique.
great. It was. There are some things that I think you learn a little. You always take a nugget away with whomever you speak to at any time. So definitely took some good nuggets away today, Brett. That will definitely help us in our next evolution of our company as we continue to scale and grow.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, you've been a great guest, Monique. If
Oh,
people want to
thank you.
learn, you're welcome. If people want to learn about Zinn Insurance or connect with you on social, how would they do that?
It's zinninsurance.com on TikTok and Instagram because we do that. It's Zinn INS, so Zinn Insurance. So those are some great ways for us to connect, and or you can do it the old-fashioned way. You can always also pick up the phone and give us a jingle. We'd love to chat with you too.
Right. Very good. Yeah. If anybody out there is looking for some help with their health and welfare benefits, their life insurance, disability kind of stuff, Zinn Insurance is a good option to check out. And you can connect with Monique and her team on Instagram and TikTok. Um, sure appreciate you being on the show today, Monique.
Great, thank you so much. As well as LinkedIn. I forgot about the other. There's so many social handles these days, and you
Yeah.
get confused. We're in LinkedIn as well too. So yes, it was a pleasure speaking with you today, and I wish everyone much success and luck in your organizations and your businesses, and just enjoy the ride.
Very good. It is a ride. Very good. Okay. In every single episode, we bring great business owners like Monique on here to talk about that ride, the goods, the bads, the all the interesting, and we're hoping to learn and share as much learning as possible along the way. Keep listening to the Seven Figure Journey podcast and share it, like it, comment, review to help as many other seven-figure business owners as possible get the lessons that we're bringing through these great guests that we have every single time. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.